think that might be my favourite title of all time. Cerny Skooshes. Obviously, that's something that we're going to discuss in a wee bit. London's already complaining that we're 1 minute late. If the intro starts bang on 1:30, then we're on time. Hello, everybody. Good evening, and welcome to a rather happy, not overly happy, just happy Rangers Rabble podcast. For a change on your Monday night Rabble, 7:30 here every Monday, here every Friday, here every match reaction, here every build-up for every game. We're here all the time, basically. So yeah, never get tired of seeing this face. I'm joined tonight by Stuart and Ash. Stuart, how are you?
I'm good. Yes. Nice to be on one of these with a bit of positivity around the place after what was a pretty decent week in the world of Rangers, which was a nice change.
Yeah, sorry, I was taken by a comment there. It's not the old firm now; it's El Splashy Coal, which I'm more than happy with. Ash, how are you?
Oh, very, very well. I thought the highlight of my week might be seeing Rangers march into the quarter-final of a European Cup, but little did I know that Igaman had other plans. And also enjoyed Cerny giving out free baths after the goal as well. So just delicious all round, really. A very, very good few days.
Right, I'm going to regret this, but get your puns in now, folks. Right, get your one-liners in. Singing the Blues is already what a good title, Martin. I like it. I like it. So I always regret when I do this. But please do get your puns in. And by the way, don't call it the European Cup because they're already fragile, Ash. Right?
Sorry, I'm at the wind up. Straight off the bat, just trying to get myself in trouble. Sorry, guys.
I haven't listened to Super Scoreboard for about 14 years, but judging by your comments, I'm not having a great Monday.
Right. So don't make it worse, is what you're telling me.
Don't
just
make
keep
it worse.
calm,
Yeah.
right? Okay.
There was
we're lovers, not fighters.
A good Twitter account was kind of get your kind of Rangers players water-related names in there earlier. So, Ronald Waterhouse.
This isn't off the ball, Stuart.
Well, but we can have some fun, Jamie Loch Ness was actually one I quite like. So yeah, get them in as well.
Yeah, get your water puns in. Ash, I'm going to start with you. I know this is normally what I ask. What did you make of the game? Blah 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 blah. So I thought I'd go for something a bit more exotic, a bit more exciting. Ash, what did you make of the game?
So I wasn't expecting that question, Martin, straight off the bat. Well, listen, look, just to be honest, I didn't have high expectations going into the game. Being completely honest, my kind of thought was just don't embarrass ourselves. We've been there a few times in recent years and been handed a bit of a scudding. So I thought, look, after what happened on Thursday, going into the game, they'll be up for it in front of their fans, stay in the game, and that's really as much as we could hope for. I was not expecting the first half that we got from them. It was outstanding. It was everything that we've not done in previous Old Firm games. Right in their faces, aggressive, wanting it more than they did, and we just blew them away. Quite frankly, the first half an hour, we were fantastic. Second half we tired, which I don't think was any shock given what had happened on Thursday night. But if we could have won it anyway, I love the fact they got it back to 2-2, and then we scored that goal in the 88th minute. It just completely killed the stadium, and was just a really special moment for Igaman as well. So I think on balance, we absolutely deserved it. It wasn't what I expected, but the players and the management team deserve all the credit in the world for turning up at Parkhead and doing something that not many managers have been able to do for a long time.
100%. Listen, there's about 18 different points I could take for everything that you've just said there. So I'm going to ask Stuart a question relevant to one of the points you've made and then completely forget the rest. Because that is my memory. But I will do, before I go, because this was Stuart's idea, I will bring up a couple of the puns that we've seen. Richard Trough it's not bad. It's not bad.
Solid.
It's decent. It's decent. Alan, need to keep the puns clean. It's still pre-watershed.
Nice.
So I like that. I like that. And listen, Peter Grant greets all the time. Gallant, right? So big. Wow, we played music in the dressing room. It feels as if, Stuart, nowadays it's illegal to celebrate when you have a good result.
Look, absolutely is that. And I think what they fail to get from this is that 99.9% of Rangers fans are absolutely aware that in the grand scheme of things, that result isn't going to change anything. It's not going to mean that we're suddenly back in a title race. It
Nope.
doesn't mean that everything in the garden is rosy. But see, if you can't enjoy scoring a late winner at your fiercest rival's ground, a ground you haven't won on in 5 years, where you've taken some pretty severe beatings for, and let's be honest, as Ash has touched on there, I think some of our fans felt, that could happen again, given the exertions of the Thursday night. If you can't celebrate that, then we might as well just give up. This is just creeping in to football now. And we had a wee bit of a chat about it in the pre-match show yesterday, Martin, where it was always going to be a kind of almost a win-win for them in terms of, if they win, they're 19 points, they lord it up. If they lose, it's only 13, it's still down to 13, these are still crap, all that sort of stuff. There was never going to be a win in their eyes for Rangers. No, you're not allowed to celebrate anything. But, I think we all enjoyed our Sunday night last night, and rightly so. And then, we got on with things today, looking ahead, seeing, there's still a bigger picture here at play. It's the changes that are going to come with the club. So, yeah, I mean, get that chat can go in the bin, but it's becoming more and more prominent in football for whatever reason.
It certainly is. It's a bit of sour grapes as well. And right, couple more of these, right, and then I think we'll let it go. Kevin Drinkle, very good. I'm liking that. Of course, the lead singer Marty Pello of the band Wet Wet Wet, and the Trying Scotsman Andy Dribble. I don't really know. I don't know what way you want to take that. But yeah, absolutely take it whatever way you want. Ash, do you think, obviously, look, the way that we set up, the way we started the game, I think Celtic were probably expecting it, right? But I do think, and probably look quite rightly so, there's a bit of arrogance in there about, they think they're the much better team and they only need to turn up and they'll probably beat us. But was it a free hit for Barry, do you think, to set up the way that he did, to go so attack?
Do you know what? I kind of feel like the way that we played the first half yesterday was how he probably intended us to play the first half against Fenerbahce. I think having 5 at the back, there is the assumption that it means that you're defensive, but actually if you get it right in the middle of the park and the front players, you can actually create some problems. And I think what we've been guilty of in the past at Parkhead, and I'm probably guilty of it as well, is there is a thought process: just survive the storm of the first 15, 20 minutes, stay in the game, don't concede a goal. And I think probably everybody starting that game would have had that expectation that Celtic would have the ball come at us and we just had to survive. And Barry completely flipped it on its head. And he said, right, we need to be strong, we need to be robust at the back, get in their faces. Don't let them make the passes through the centre of midfield. Don't let them control the ball, disrupt them, harry them, just basically just give them a hard time. And they just couldn't cope with it. They did not expect that from us. And I mean, the goal comes from, not to go too far ahead, the goal comes from a corner where Raskin's right on the edge of the box taking a shot after about 90 seconds. And, the whole place was quiet. The players were all looking at each other. They just did not expect us to come out that way at all. And I think he got it spot on. First half in particular, I think he got it bang on. Second half we tired, but that was expected. But it was the perfect way to set up from my perspective.
How important, actually, Stuart? I mean, that's a stupid question. Every goal's important, right? But to go there after midweek, after the performance that we put in, get that early goal, and then Parkhead just goes silent.
We talked about it pre-match yesterday, the opening goal.
I can't remember pre-match yesterday, Stuart.
Well, you should, because I mentioned it. Right, so but no, look, well, Ian Crocker was having a field day with stats, wasn't he, yesterday? In terms of and I think it's pretty clear that it's in these type of games, it's pretty vital to get that opening goal, because you tend not to then lose the game if you do that. So touching on Ash's point, something that I've noticed that we've started to do slightly differently is from kickoff. I actually think whether we won the toss or whatever it was and decided to have kickoff, I think that was quite important. Under Clement, we had a style where we play the ball back and then we would play it wide. We're now doing what a lot of the top teams do, and this is your Liverpools and all that. Play it back to a centre half and launch it forward. Get territory up the pitch. And what did we do? We won a throw-in. And for that opening 5 minutes, the game was played in and around the Celtic box. And, so you're starting on the front foot rather than, playing it wide to Tav, who then tries to play a pass, you can then lose it, and then you're in the middle of the park. So actually that advantage of having the ball, you've lost it. So I think that's wee subtle changes like that I think the management team have brought in. And yeah, look, that opening goal, we were on top. Raskin had that shot. I actually think if you watch that back, by the way, I'm not that I was impressed with him throughout the game, but wasn't very impressed by Schmeichel at that effort as well. It actually kind of goes through his hands ever so slightly. And then the goal comes, and it is clear as day that we now have a management team that are working on set pieces. From what appears to be under Clement a case of we'll just fling the ball in the box and we'll hope that something happens. There's now a pattern to it, and we're mixing things up. It's the first game I can remember against them where I've generally felt we looked actually more physical than them, and we looked a threat every time we put a cross into the box. Who knew Tav had a long throw, by the way?
I know.
That was that's a shocker. Where's that been hiding for 10 years? But the movement for the goal, I think Scott Allen said it in Sports Scene last night that actually that's a Billy Dodds special. He's seen that setup. They actually have 3 Rangers players out, the corner kick taker, another 2 out there, which drags 2 Celtic players out. It creates that space. It's a great delivery and great movement from Raskin and a really, really good header. And it just shows that if you do work in these things, that you can get set pieces are so important in this game, and to get our noses in front, it just cemented what was a really positive start, and it sucked the atmosphere out of that place. Absolutely.
Oh, and I don't think that ever fully recovered, even when they scored. I don't think the atmosphere ever fully recovered in there. Right, this isn't something that we normally do on here. Right, this is not this channel, this show is reserved for 99.9% Rangers chat. Right, but I have now been sent over the last kind of 3 to 4 months clips from shows that aren't Rangers minded, shall I say, who have segments devoted to Rangers, who have breaking news shows, by the way, devoted to Rangers. And I very rarely talk Celtic on this, hardly ever. But I feel like this needs to be brought up. I feel like this needs to be highlighted and a spotlight put on it, because if it was the other way about, they would do it to us. So let's do it to them. I thought Celtic were embarrassing yesterday in that Old Firm game. I thought that the levels of diving and rolling about the park they were doing. Listen, some challenges were fouls. Of course they were. But the level of diving yesterday for that Celtic team was embarrassing.
No, I would completely agree. I mean, one that stands out to me is Engels in the middle of the park. He's basically just out muscled. He's off balance and he throws himself down. And I can't remember which one of our players it was, but we basically got a yellow card. And I think Barry actually got a yellow card from that decision, because he's on the sideline going, what on earth is happening? Although one thing I would say about the ref yesterday is it's very rare to come away from a game, an Old Firm game, and the ref wasn't really too much of a factor. Felt like he was a bit more fussy with us than them. I think we got 3 or 4 yellow cards, and I don't think they had any. And there was a few where I think he could have pulled the card out, but I think he decided not to do that. So I think he was a wee bit harder with us. But I thought he reffed the game quite fairly. I thought Raskin had a few nibbles here and there in previous Old Firm games gone by. He'd have got a yellow when he shouldn't have. So I think we stood up to it quite well, to be honest. I think we didn't really get too involved in anything. We were professional. We were smart about it. And they, got their just rewards in the end, really, because it never got Celtic anywhere, did it?
No, it didn't. But Stuart, in that first half especially, it's funny when they get back into it, the diving kind of stopped. But the first half especially, McLean was buying everything.
I'm not sure I
No,
agree.
he was.
No, do you know, I thought there was plenty of times where you could hear, the one time you could hear their fans was because they felt they weren't getting the decisions that they're used to. I'm no fan of Stephen McLean as a referee, but I would agree with Ash there that I actually thought he had a fairly decent game overall. And the fact that, you know, I know you're talking about it, Martin, but, you know, generally there's no big contentious issues. VAR didn't need to get involved in anything that he's missed. I thought it's not the easiest game to referee. Let's put it that way. And I thought he'd done it fairly sensible where, yes, there were some fouls that went and he let, yes, he gave the foul, but he didn't get his yellow card out too early and stuff like that. Yes, we picked up more bookings. There's a surprise, you know, than none
Well,
for Celtic.
they didn't pick up any bookings.
No, exactly.
Yeah.
So, you know, you've got to see it a wee bit like that. But to me, it didn't have really any impact on the game. And you know, at the end of the day, we scored 3 goals to their 2, and that's the most important thing.
Of course it is. Of course it is. But I'm fed
The only
up.
thing, sorry, Martin, so just to say on that, the only one where I thought maybe VAR might have got involved, but I'm not surprised he didn't, was I think it was in the second half. Cerny was in the penalty box running through and he clearly gets shoved and you can see he loses his balance, but he doesn't go down. And I kind of respect the fact he didn't. But if he goes down, I think that's a penalty. But in an Old Firm game, VAR is never going to, they should have, because a foul's a foul, but it just, they were never going to intervene then. But that's the only one I thought where they kind of bottled it a wee bit. They should have
If
got
he goes
involved
down,
eventually.
if he goes down, then they need to look at it. The fact that he stood up, that's why they don't.
Yeah.
And I agree with you. It shouldn't have to take a player to go down, but that's football these days. You know that they won't want to get themselves.
It doesn't matter what level of football it is, Stuart. If you don't go down, you don't get a free.
Totally, yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah, you just absolutely don't. There's loads of people asking me to play Alex's reaction to the third goal. I don't know. Do you want to see it?
I enjoy it. Yes.
Ah.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Will I play it?
Yeah.
All right. Okay. Well, I mean, it would have been really professional, but if I'd segued it into when we got onto the third goal, wouldn't it? And then played
Well, you can do that now. You can do.
You can't do that now when you've said it. Then it just becomes.
Should have kept your gob shut then.
I know. I can't help it. Big gob. But anyway, let's hear Alex's reaction. Now, one of the funniest parts of this is that clearly Aaron's having an issue with his stream or with Sky or whatever because he's miles behind Alex. Right. But anyway, let's take and this, by the way, for people that are just tuning in maybe your first time, these are the watch-alongs that you can get if you're one of our members. But I'll come on to that in a wee bit. Let's see Alex's reaction.
And how many times have you and me sat here, Alex, and said it?
Egeman! What a fucking goal! Hamza Egeman! Come on! Fucking on you go, son! What a goal! And it's Rangers 3, Celtic 2! What a fucking goal that is!
There's a
Got him on the Ross! Hamza Egeman! Take a bow! Take a bow! That is.
A player
What you do, Gary, son. On you go. On you go.
a player that creates something out of nothing.
Was ever a game you need a goal? Ah, look at the Timmy Teals. They're fucking raging. Look at them, absolutely raging. Look at them. Can't control themselves. And yet we're the bad fans. They can't control themselves. Look at them in our fucking subs.
Right, apologies for the language, right? Apologies for the language, but that's just one of the shows you can get if you sign up to the Rabble as a member now for $1.99 a month. Honestly, I mean that's probably how we all reacted, but Ash, isn't it?
I don't know whether I enjoyed the finish more or Alex's reaction, to be honest. That's going to be on repeat, I'm afraid to say. That is absolute quality. Absolute quality.
Oh, so
You'll be absolutely delighted that you've just put that public.
He's raging at me. He's raging at me. I put it on TikTok as well because I thought if I put that on Twitter, you know, we might get some adverse reactions because I know some people are quite sensitive the day. So I just left it for TikTok. And I put it on YouTube Shorts as well. And I've sent it to quite a lot of people. So we'll see if that does the rounds. But Stuart, yeah, the first goal, Stuart. Can you talk to me about what we're now doing at set pieces under Barry that we perhaps weren't doing under Clement? Because
If you
Stuart,
just
that's
forgot
a
the
goal
conversation we
directly
just had,
across.
by the way, if your memory is
No, I want to talk about the actual build-up because I was listening to another show, and I don't usually do this, but they were talking about it wasn't just a cross, it wasn't just Raskin getting in front, it's what else we were doing in the area as well.
I think there's like I said before, under Clement, I think somebody asked him at a press conference, would you think you need to bring in a set piece coach? Because we can't remember the number of games that we went without scoring a goal from a set piece. And he said, no, I deal with that. You know, but I think it was fairly obvious that he wasn't dealing with it, because it would be Tav or Cerny, whoever was taking the corner, just putting it in the box and hoping for things. So there clearly is a variation in terms of what we're doing, in terms of there's a pattern here, you know, there will be a signal given. So probably the signal for that goal was the fact that we had two players going out towards Tav, you know, so that's the cue for Raskin. He knows he's running, he's hitting that area, because that's where Tav's going to try and deliver the ball. I think we had mixed it up. Sometimes Tav was taking out swingers, sometimes Cerny was taking in swingers, so mixing it up from there, whereas I think we went through a period where we just constantly took out swingers for a long time. There is greater movement in terms of sometimes Desser's front post, Suter running front post, Balogun going middle, etc. We look a threat, so clearly they're just working on different patterns, different set piece routines now.
Blocking in the box as well, Stuart, which we never done before.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, which happens. You know, every other team does it to us, so we need to do it. What goal? I think we scored. Oh, was it in Europe? I think it was in Europe, where Dessers stood his ground and blocked a man off. So you know, we are. It looks as if we're becoming a bit more intelligent in terms of it's such a massive part of the game that you can't just ignore it. So it's really pleasing to see that in 3 weeks, and let's be honest, I've not had much time on the training ground with it, you're already seeing a vast improvement in terms of the chances we're creating. And like I say, I just thought yesterday we looked a threat at every corner. You know, we do have players that can put in good delivery. So if you've got good movement, like you say, blocking, then you know we should be getting chances, and we should be scoring far more goals from corners, free kicks around the box than what we do, because of the amount of possession that we have in those areas. So
and the amount of corners and stuff that we actually get. We should
Yes,
definitely be converting more.
Uh-huh.
I've got a couple more puns, if you like. Lockeye review, Tory Andrew Waterflow.
I like that.
That's decent. That's decent.
Very good.
Robert Flask. Obviously, I play on Robert Fleck. I like it. Watersmith.
It's pretty good.
I like that one. I like that one. And Jordy, I've already played the greatest video ever. So we certainly will be playing that again. Ash, the second goal. Now, looking at this from a Celtic point of view, if you turn that and then put that back onto us and we lose that goal, you're saying that is some horrendous defending.
You are, but I tend to focus on, you know, if that was scored in a World Cup or it was scored in the Champions League, you'd be absolutely raving about it. It was such a beautiful team move. I think that Raskin finds the space. I think it's Engels he runs off, the £11 million Belgian midfielder that he's
Second best
into the
Belgian in
Belgium squad.
Scotland.
Is that him? I think that's him, isn't it? Yeah. So he runs off him. Tav obviously plays the ball on, and just the sheer peace of mind to just knock that ball on to Dio, who's managed to get himself a bit of space in the box, is just, it's an absolutely brilliant goal. Like I say, if that was players from Barcelona, you'd be absolutely raving about it. And you're right, from a defensive point of view, I'd be freaking out at the holes all over the penalty box. But let's be honest, we don't do that to them at Parkhead. We don't run off them. We don't find ourselves with space in the box. So I just don't think they expected it at all. And I'll be honest, when Dio took the shot, thought he'd put it wide, and I was having a
Everybody
hernia.
said that.
I was like, yes, no, almost on the floor collapsing. And then I was a big fan of Schmeichel saying, it's going wide, doing the sort of, it's all right, it's going wide. And then, oh no, it's nestled in the bottom corner. So, no, I think it was a great goal, and it all comes from Raskin for me. But Tav plays a part too. So let's see if that's Barry rubbing off on the likes of Dio and Raskin running past their man and getting into the box, because that was nice to see.
Something that we
Martin,
haven't seen for a long time, Stuart.
No, and can I just... Ash is absolutely spot on, but the build up to it is the press that we had, because actually we won a throw in from Ridvan nearly getting in and causing problems. And I have to think you have to tip your hat to the management team, and it's not just Barry. I dare say Neil McCann's having a kind of big say in this, but they clearly identified a way that they could get at that Celtic backline. And it wasn't like your kind of traditional press where, if the goalie's got the ball, you've got three guys right up at the the edge of the box. It was almost as if they were happy for them to have an initial one or two passes, but as soon as they almost went into a certain area, that was the trigger to then go, and then the rest of the team moved at that point to try and narrow down space. So the tactics there were absolutely spot on, and that, by the way, that's a great goal we've scored there, because it's the part, how we deal with the throw in, how we get it out, how we play that ball into Tav. Tav's pass, by the way, is brilliant. Although Raskin's run, when you watch it back, he's making Tav's mind up, because he's made that run in behind, and then just to have that wee bit of intelligence and the wits around him, to just flick it on to Dio, took his touch and then buried it.
It's having options in front of Tav, because we've seen Stuart that the pass. I mean, that comes to mind straight away is the pass to Jermaine Defoe. If you remember Jermaine Defoe's excellent goal, if you give Tav's a great passer of the ball when he wants to be, and he's a great footballer. We've not had the options from midfield moving forward, helping Dessers, helping Igaman. We've not had that, and we certainly didn't have that under Clement. You give Tav the options, that's what you can do.
Well, I think Ash touched on it right at the start of the show. 3-5-2. Oh, can that be slightly defensive? Well, there's two of your midfielders in the box. One setting up, the other for it. Also, Barron would have been kind of marshalling.
Barron was actually the catalyst for all that. Barron was the sitter.
So there is definitely something there where Barry and the management team have certainly freed these players up more. That there isn't, under Clement, it did feel at times that you had those kind of two sitting and then one in front. There seems to be a bit more freedom. Dio looks like a far better player when he's got that the ability and the freedom to get into the box. He looks like a box to box midfielder to me. So you want him to be doing that, and early Barry Ferguson was a box to box.
He's not so reliant on having to defend, Stuart.
Yeah, exactly. So so I think that the system, we've come across a system that I think is working at the moment. I'd be amazed to see if we kind of change from that much, particularly the big games. Maybe you might see a slight change at Ibrox against maybe at that low block. Who knows? We'll need to wait and see in that. But it worked a dream yesterday, because, like you say, Tav had options, and it gave that freedom for players like Raskin and Dio to get into the box.
On that point, sorry, Stuart, that's a great point, because I think Dio, when he first came to the club, the first few games from memory, he scored a couple of good goals. He was right at the edge of the box taking shots, and we almost coached that out of him. I think our, Clement's confusion around who our best central two meant that we lost all of his attacking efficiencies. And I think that Barron, Raskin and Dio have this really good blend of industry, quality, guile, and it kind of lets Dio get on and do what he does best, which is support the attackers. And I think yesterday that was a classic example of it. He didn't have to worry about the back door. Barron was dealing with that. He could go on and be there for the Raskin assist. So this formation seems to get the best out of someone like Diamanda, who I think is a quality player.
and Cerny playing more centrally as well.
Yeah.
We're not
Cerny
so
had a
now
free role.
rigid.
Cerny had a free role.
Two wingers stuck to the touchline.
Yeah.
You know, we're not. We just became very samey and a bit predictable. Whereas now there's a bit more flexibility. And actually, I think if I'm right, the lead up to that goal, it's Yilmaz taking a throw in to Cerny, who's on the left hand side. You know, and then it comes out to Barron, and then we go into the middle of the park, and so on. So there's movement there, which causes teams problems.
And how for how long? And I don't want this just to be a let's all book Clement, right? But how long under Clement did we say, right, who's the sitter? Is it Dio or is it Raskin? So yesterday we had Dio and Raskin in the opposition box and at Parkhead. That shows you what this change of shape's done for this Rangers team. And you're absolutely right about Cerny. See you give Vaclav Cerny that free role. I think he's perfect for it. I think he's absolutely perfect for it. There's loads of look. It's all nice for us to talk about a good win at Parkhead and this player done that well and that player done that well. There's so much work that needs done on this Rangers team still. There's a lot of money still needing spent on this Rangers team. And I'm seeing, Aaron in the comments saying, I didn't celebrate because we're so far behind. Oh, I'm sorry. But that's now twice in the league we've beat Celtic this season. That's not a fluke. And the first time we've beat them at their place for 5 years. Regardless of what you're doing in the league, you celebrate that.
100%. And I think, Stuart was right when he said earlier, this game in the context of our domestic season doesn't really mean a lot. But I think where it can mean something is that there's a lot of the squad that we do want to keep, the likes of your Dios, your Raskins, etc. Them going to Parkhead and winning means something next season. That's something for them to build from. The last 3 Old Firm games, we've been the better team in most of them. And if it wasn't for a very peculiar non-intervention from VAR, potentially we'd have had the first trophy of the season. So for me, that was getting a monkey off our back yesterday. It was showing the players not only can you get at them, we can also then lose 2 goals and still find a win. And I just think that stands us in good stead. So I do understand the comments. We are 13 points behind. Some people might find it embarrassing to celebrate, but no, this is a foundation for us to build on for next year. And it just puts a bit of doubt in their mind. Rodgers has had the run of Ibrox and Parkhead against us for all the years he's been there. And now actually their fans are starting to question, does he know how to beat this Rangers team? Because they've conceded 9 goals against us in 3 games. So I think it's important. And I think if nothing else, it gives us a boost going into the latter part of the season when we've got big European games coming up as well. So enjoy it, because we've not had much to enjoy this season, would be my advice.
All if, buts and maybes, what I'm about to say, Martin, but can you imagine if we beat them at Ibrox in the next game? We had a scenario where Clement was constantly getting asked in the build-up to Old Firm games, you haven't won one of these yet, you haven't done, that. If Rodgers is still there next season, I say that because I don't have a wee sneaky suspicion, but if he was still there, if we win at Ibrox, the first game of next season is at Ibrox. It might turn around that he might be getting asked a kind of awkward question about, you've not won one of these in a while, and actually your team hasn't really played that well, as Ash quite rightly points out. If Rangers keep up the record of scoring on average 3 goals a game in Old Firm games, we're going to win more than we lose. So I totally get the point. And again, that's where we can enjoy the moment. It doesn't mean that you've lost sight of the fact that this has been a shit show of a season for Rangers. But we can just enjoy the moment that we went there and won a game of football. It doesn't mean that we've completely forgotten about everything that's happened in the past and the rest of the season. That's, it's one game. We know that, but let's enjoy it.
And do you know what also? And they can deny it all they want. They're going to go on and win a treble, right? Barring some miracle in the Scottish Cup, which I don't think is going to happen, right? They're going to go on and win a treble. But I'm 100% with you, Stuart. See if we beat them at Ibrox in the last Old Firm game. They're going to spend the whole summer with a nagging doubt in their mind going into next season, which is mental when you've just won another treble, right? And you continue to win all these trophies. But it's about laying that wee doubt. And again, whether they want to admit it or not, they know there's money coming into our football club. So I can't imagine a scenario with these new owners that we're bringing in. We're never going to be this bad again. I think maybe next season's a transitional season. I don't know. It depends on what they do in the transfer market, how long it takes them to get directors of football, sporting, whatever they need to do behind the scenes to try and bring us back to some kind of football and normality. So maybe next season will be whatever. But we're never going to be, Stuart, this bad again, I don't think.
Well, worst case scenario, if they beat us at Ibrox, there's 2 wins each in the league. So actually, those 4 games have kind of nullified each other. They're not, it's what we do against the rest of this league that's been is undoubtedly been our problem, and that is our problem. And we need to own it. We've not been good enough. Celtic have been far more consistent and are going to win the league at a canter. That those are the facts, and that's okay to admit that. But yeah, look, I believe our potential new owner or one of them has been in attendance at Ibrox last Thursday and was in attendance at Parkhead yesterday. And he's picked 2 pretty decent games to see, what a Rangers support is all about and stuff like that. If not that I think there is any doubts that this is going to happen, but my God, that'll have just solidified it to think, there's something here, isn't there? This is extra level in terms of experiencing it firsthand. That if we can give them the tools, appoint the right people, you can build something here. So, let's say it's again we need to wait and see what happens. But there's again just go back to we can enjoy the moment. it's okay to do that.
I think, Stuart, as well, the manner of the win as well. If you'd said to anyone who hadn't watched the game, Rangers were winning 2-0, Celtic got it back to 2-2, and there was an 88th minute winner, everyone would have put their money on that being Celtic.
Yes.
But what we've done is we've completely flipped the narrative, and then that seed of doubt is now in their players' minds and not in ours. We know we can go and get a win when we're right up against it, with a few minutes to go in an Old Firm game. And that just wasn't happening a few years ago. So that's why I think it's something to build on.
And one, sorry, Martin, but really important, some incidents during celebrations, some players' Instagram posts, seems to be a wee bit of, hatred's probably the wrong word there, but if you're telling me what Barry and his management team have done is to say, do you know what, how important these games are, and we go there wanting to beat them. We dislike them for those 90 minutes, and we get tore in about it. Whereas I've got no doubt that that's what they've been doing to us for years, and reveling in it. Well, there's been I think Barry said it in Friday, we're a wee bit too nice. Well, actually, isn't it nice just to see that there's actually 2 fingers getting stuck back up at them ever so slightly to say, and
that shouldn't be a surprise, Stuart, though, should it? Be Barry, Neil McCann, Billy Dodds, whatever you think of Billy Dodds and some of the stuff that he said in the media, he is a big Rangers man. That shouldn't be a surprise now that the players have. I think maybe the word's disdain, showing a bit of disdain for the Celtic players. And by the way, you're 100% right. That's exactly what they've done to us, which they should be doing.
Exactly.
Look at the results it brings.
So a lot of people talk about you've got to win the battle in Old Firm games. Well, if you're a wee bit too nice, then by and large, you're not really going to do that. But if you get into their faces a little bit and say, do you know what, we're up for this today, we're going to get right tore in about you. And if that means that we may, a lot of criticism about Robin Propper. I absolutely loved the fact that Robin Propper put Maeda 5 feet up in the air yesterday. He at least there's something about him that he'll do something like that. There was just, you got that feeling. And I think when you see things at the end and after the game, and then what they're saying after the game, you get a bit more confidence that they're instilling something in them there, that this being too nice and being a bit of a pushover, well, no, we're not going to see that anymore, but they need to keep that going. This can't be just a one-off.
Yeah, no, they absolutely do. And if it is a new manager that comes in next year, then that has to be instilled into that manager as well. But we will. I think we'll leave that for Friday night. We'll talk about, because it is international break, folks, now. So we might be a little bit thin on content. So I think I'll leave that for Friday night. But one of the most important parts of the game, Ash, that has got little to no coverage because of Igaman's last-minute heroics, Dujon Sterling. That is one of the best goal line clearances I have ever seen.
I have watched it 100 times, and I still have no idea how he didn't put that ball bursting through the back of the net. I mean, I assume it was deliberate, because I trust that it probably was, but I think everybody thought that was going, if it wasn't going to go in, he was just going to deflect it back into the path of the Celtic attacker who was standing right behind him. But that was absolutely phenomenal. And that's what Sterling gives you. It's the side of the game that he loves. He loves the defence. That's one of the things he's good at. It's just a shame he's injured more than he's not. I think if we can get him fit and keep him fit, he's a huge part of our squad moving forward. But in that moment, to make that clearance and keep the game 2-0 going into half time, I think that's huge, because if that goes to 2-1, I think that the second half, although it was challenging anyway, it just completely changes the dynamic of the game.
Yeah,
so that
100%.
was worth a goal. I think Arfield said that in commentary. That was worth a goal. It was a stunning clearance. Stunning.
Personally, Stuart, I actually think it was as big as it probably won as the game.
Well, we've seen what happened. Fenerbahce got a goal right before half time. I think that was just right before half time. It would have been a big moment in the game. It would have changed the team talks. And I think we could probably talk about Rangers in the second half and some of the stuff on there. But I don't think there's any doubt about his talent. It's whether or not we can now see Dujon Sterling getting a sustained run, manage his minutes between now and the end of the season to hopefully lead him into getting a really decent pre-season, and then see where we go in next season with him. He's got that versatility. Ash is spot on. He looks like somebody who likes to defend and knows how to defend as well. It's, can we keep him fit? He could be a massive asset for us. But it was, I think everybody thought it was in. I know I did. And then you're kind of a wee bit in disbelief as to how has he managed to do that. It was a phenomenal effort, and as you say, as good as a goal.
Oh, 100%. I genuinely think it won as the game. Obviously, Iggerman wins as the game, but you know what I mean. Chris Sheridan has become a YouTube member. Thank you very much, Chris. I hope you enjoy the extra content, and thank you for helping to support the channel. And not only has he become a member, but he's put in a massive super chat as well. So thank you very, very much, Chris, for the support. I don't understand this comment, right? But it's another super chat from one of our sponsor members, Charles Dalrymple. Thank you very much, Charles. Can't tell if I'm losing my voice. Was the game or their flu? I don't understand that comment, Charles, but I do thank you, my friend, for your support.
I think what he's saying is he's lost his voice and he can't work out if it was because of the game or because he's got the flu.
See, because he's put their flu, I'm like that. I don't know what he means by that. But yeah, fair enough. See,
correct us if I'm wrong, Charles. Apologies. I'm just kind of guessing, reading between the lines.
I used to are too smart for me. It's actually a wee bit annoying, right? Can you just dumb it down a wee bit? This is called the Rabble, right? Yeah, look, I don't really want to discuss this for too long, Ash, right? For God's sake, Trev. Super chat from a very own Trev. Ash, you unfortunately know him personally. Wash and go, Celtic's next sponsor, perhaps.
Very Trev comment. Very good, Trev. I like that.
That's such a Trev comment, and if only people knew the editing I had to do for recorded shows when Trev's on. It's absolutely ridiculous. Ash, Jack Butland again, coming up with some outstanding saves. Outstanding saves. I'm not really going to go into the Celtic goals because I don't want to. But again, his distribution, it's a real worry for us, isn't it?
So, like you, I don't want to be too negative after what was a fantastic result. But the first Celtic goal, I put mostly on Jack Butland, and I know that might be harsh because Sterling and Tav get beat at the back post, and there's points of failure before that. But he just consistently puts us in trouble. He it's almost like the defenders should forget that he's there and just stop using him because he is not good with the ball at his feet. He did it actually near the end of the game as well when it was 2-2. He just played a ball right into the middle of the park, and luckily it deflected to a Rangers player, but it was so close to being intercepted. So, I think you saw yesterday, his shot stopping, fantastic. Kept us in the game. There was a Hatate save in the first half that if that goes in again, that changes the momentum. So fair play. And I think over the last few weeks, we've seen the best of him in terms of the shot stopping. But this distribution thing is a real problem. And I don't know how you get around it because he's old now. I don't know how you're going to change that. Can you coach that out of him now? I think it's just a case of you try and keep the ball away from him as often as you can, because we almost blew our foot off there for no reason at all.
See what Ash is saying, just to take it way back, and I'm going to be slightly negative, and I know I've just lorded them up there, and no Dujon Sterling. A minute before that goal, Tav is fouled by Maeda, and Dujon Sterling tries to take a quick free kick and just knocks the ball straight out the park. I said on the pre-match about our game management, Martin, about how we need to be smart, and I think overall we were pretty decent. I think we did, we took our time with throw-ins and stuff like that. I think overall, but simple things like that. It's early in the second half. They're clearly had a rollicking. They're going to come out. They've made a change. We've got a free kick. We can take our time. Spend 30, 45 seconds to get that. And if it means that actually Sterling's going to pretend to take our Tav, then we get Butland out to take it, whatever, just be smart. It was a minute in
Is that lack of match time, Stuart?
I don't know if it's a lot. It's game management, and I think sometimes our game management does let us down in certain. Just be smart, Talked about if they're in ascendancy, a player go down, pretend that you need to get the physio on, take the sting out the game. I just thought, why are we trying to take quick free kicks? We're 2-0 up here. It's early in the second half. We could be smart about this.
Yeah.
We could almost use that in the same scenario as how we started the first half. Get it long, see if we can win the second ball or get a throw in, and everything builds from there. There are faults for the rest of the goal, and Butland is one of it. I just thought that was something that it was needless because there was a minute in between that and then the ball hitting the back of the net.
Yeah, no, that's a fair comment. I see multiple man is still hurting from losing in the afternoon Rabble today on the Who Am I. He's been a wee bit sarky there, just still hurting because he usually gets it and I beat him. So I would usually say what I would say in the afternoon Rabble, but it might get us kicked off public YouTube. So right. I'll save it for the member stuff. Ash, I mean, it's a relatively simple question. How big a goal was that for Igaman?
I mean, I think he needed it. I think, he'd obviously struggled for form the last few weeks. I don't put too much stock into that. He's a young guy. He pretty much, he was really carrying us for a long time when, Dessers was so off form and Danilo was injured. But he has that quality. We know that. I think he just needed a bit of time out the team. I think it's probably helped him doing that. But what an absolute finish. What an absolutely stunning finish, even just to get the opportunity as well. It's just sheer power, determination. Carter Vickers makes him look like a fool. Johnson's, I think, on his bum twice, nearly, at that point. And just if there was anyone you wanted to take that shot in terms of strikers, it was certainly Igaman. Massive for him, massive for his confidence, and hopefully it's not the last Old Firm goal we'll see from him. Getting
the break of the ball, Stuart, which he hasn't been getting for the last month and a half. And not only that, then have the technique, because that's a placed fit. He's not just hit that as hard as he could, he's placed it.
Well, he's always cut across it, has he? I think actually, by the way, it's talking about Jack Butland's distribution being poor, but it's some assist for him there, so that we can chalk that up.
Because he totally meant it, Stuart.
100%. That's it. A bit of swerve, took out Carter Vickers, and then spin on the ball over Johnson. Look, he looks like a type of player. Man, I'm not comparing him to him, but don't feel like Suarez used to almost kind of deliberately almost run into folk, and he created a bit of contact with them. It looks as if Igaman's similar in that, and so he's obviously tried to bring it in. What I would say is the touch that Johnson gets in the way just makes that ball sit up absolutely perfectly. It's probably not as easy for him to do that if the ball's just right on the ground. So it's that lovely wee bounce on the ball, but he does cut across it, which just takes it away. I mean, a goal fit to win any game, but late on in an Old Firm at Parkhead. You know, we'll be watching that goal back countless times because it was absolutely brilliant. And yeah, look, he's come in for some criticism, I think, unfairly. I think Ash is spot on. He's a young guy. This is his first proper season at any decent level.
Mhm.
There's going to probably be wee dips. I think the manager's been...
Barry admitted it, yeah.
Yeah, and I think the manager's been quite pointed as well, saying, you know what, he's got all the talent in the world, but there are certain parts to his game that he's going to need to improve if he wants to be playing in regularly in his team. But I think he also said he's given me a wee headache now, hasn't he? Because he's came on and he's done that. So delighted for him. You know, I think it can only do him good. And I think we said in the... Was it pre-match we were talking about? You know, would love him to get a goal. You know, so it was absolutely brilliant to see it fly into the net. Great goal.
I mean, Alex is in the comments saying it sent the fans mental when it went in. It certainly did, Alex, didn't it? It most certainly did. Poor Aaron got a heart attack. Right, Ash, talk to me. Vaclav Cerny. The goal goes in, and I think it's like an IQ level 150, this right? Because nobody's expecting a third goal, and if anybody's expecting a third goal, we're expecting it for Celtic, let's be honest. You spoke about it earlier. Late goals are kind of their thing, not our thing. Picks up the water bottle, runs past fans who've probably been giving them abuse throughout the whole game. You expect it, whatever, you deal with it. Skooshes them with a bit of water, and I mean, it's hilarious, isn't it?
What was funny is I completely missed it the first time. It wasn't
So
until
did
social
I.
media played it back, someone slowed it down, and you can just see him sliding through the screen, squishing the water, and the slow reaction of the Celtic fans. I mean, I think the fallout of that's an absolute nonsense. It's a
Oh,
bit of fun. It's in the moment, you know, it's a bit of water. And find it a little bit laughable. I mean, we've seen the likes of Lee Griffiths strut about Ibrox, tying scarves to goalposts, wiping his nose on corner flags, and we just had to take it as a bit of banter and all that. Come on, like, you know, you've dished it out, you've lorded it over us for many years. That was nothing. It's a good highlight for the day. And actually, if you watch the kind of the players running down the sideline towards our fans, you can see plenty of bottles and stuff getting thrown from the fans toward the Rangers players. So I think really they should sit this one out and just take that as a bit of fun and enjoy it as a highlight.
enjoy it, Stuart. It's look, if it happens to look, if it's other way about, we're sitting on here going, "Oh, I can't believe he done that," right?
Pollen behaviour.
But come on, it's an Old Firm moment that won't be forgotten.
Well, yeah, look, I think I think you see people comment on down south and stuff like that. They all find it hysterical. Like, I think we need to be open and honest that if that's a Celtic player doing that at Ibrox, something to people in the enclosure, then I dare say there would be a reaction from those players, or sorry, those supporters. I think I said before we came on, I think the reaction has a lot to do with the result more than water. I did particularly like the comment, which was, it could have been anything. You know, which I thought, well, what you know, gasoline, you know, bleach or something like that. You know,
Mate,
that
it could have been that special coffee, Stuart.
well, yeah, that's it. You know, so you know, look, this is football fans. You're right, Martin. And I would speak for all football fans who, you know, want to give players a bit of abuse, but if a player scores a goal and gives them a wee bit back, suddenly, you know, that's a terrible thing. You know, it's where we are. Vaclav Cerny's probably thinking, I can't believe I did that. You know, but he's just lost the head in a moment where he's, you know, where a goals went in. So yeah, this will not be the end of this. This will rumble on because they will want to make it about that incident, not about, you know, another defeat, 9 goals in 3 games, all of that. That needs to get pushed to the side. There's going to be this uproar about
There's
this.
always something. There's
always something. Let's say I would like to think, you know, we're honest enough to say if that happened at Ibrox, then I think supporters would react. If it was me, I'd probably be raging, but I'd also probably be raging more about the result than
Aye.
a bit of
You
water.
would be slightly embarrassed because you've just been scooshed in the face with
Well,
water.
that's it. For a grown man to be seen on telly, and I do think it is quite apt that he's a Celtic fan saying, "I'm the victim here," in terms of,
Man.
well, of course you are, because that's what you you pander to that persona a lot. Yeah, it is what it is. But I have a niggle that this is going to run and run, and I think there'll be pressure on the authorities to do something about it.
It's absolutely mental. And Digi has become a YouTube member. Thank you very much, Digi. I was going to go into a mad joke frenzy there, but I've looked at the time and I've realised I don't have time to make some of my excellent, well-educated jokes. I can't think of one, to be brutally honest with you. But thank you for the support, Digi. I hope you enjoyed the extra content as well, and thank you for helping to support the Rabble. Right, one question left for the two of you. Ash, I'll come to you first. Stuart, please do jump in after. Ash, do we need to do everything that we possibly can to sign Vaclav Cerny on a permanent deal?
It's a really difficult one for me. I think he's a quality player, and I think without him this season, where would we be? He scored big goals in big moments. Not filler goals. He's scored goals where we've won games or where we've taken the lead. Europe as well. For me, it all comes down to what's the cost going to be in terms of the transfer fee and also the wages. And then the kind of linked question to that is how much transfer budget do we have? Because I think there's a lot needed in the summer for us to compete with Celtic next season. And if we've got 10-15 million pound to spend as a total, can you really justify spending 7, 8, 9 on Cerny? I don't know. I think if the transfer budget's strong, I'd have him because, like I say, I'm not sure who else comes in and does that job. He's been one of the few bright spots in what's been a really, really difficult season. But it is just a question of managing your resources, because I think we need, quite a bit of work at the back. I think we need something on the left wing. I think we're really struggling there. Cortez, obviously, he comes back. Hopefully he's back to fitness, but you can't really trust that. And we probably need something else up top as well, potentially, if Dessers moves on, because I don't think Danilo's the guy either, potentially. So, yeah, really difficult. I think, as I say, long-winded way of saying, I think if there's money to be had and Cerny wants to come, I'd have a conversation about it. But if it's going to blow more than half of our transfer budget, I think it's a difficult ask, because we've had him this season and we've not been successful domestically.
Just before you come in, Stuart, I have to say, at the very, very start of the season, I think it was the first Old Firm game, I was very much of the opinion that, look, pack your bags and leave. If anybody clips that up now, I look like an absolute idiot. He has been ridiculously important to us this season. And I don't just say, should we break the bank to bring him in because he's been good? I think with better players round about him, I think he's got another level that he can also go up. Sure, I think he's an incredibly good player who, if we have to fork out 7 million for, I think he's worth every penny of that 7 million.
So, yeah, I mean, I've been a fan pretty much all season, because even when he isn't having his best game, he contributes, whether it's an assist or a goal. His numbers are great. Numbers from a wide player that we haven't seen for a long, long time. So that I like him. Now, a takeover goes through, I think we will have more money to spend. That doesn't mean that we're then just going to be splashing £100 million on new players in the summer. So, it will still need to be done within a framework. I've seen some people say, well, he's 26, what's he, 27 now, I think he is. There's a lot of money to spend for that, because, what you're going to get back. I would challenge that by saying, well, I don't think you need, not every signing has to then be a Calvin Bassey. Yes, we need to be doing that. We need to get a player trading model, but you can also buy players that, if you spend a decent amount of money on them, but you get 3-4 really good years out of them, then that's just as important as possibly moving them on. I think the niggle I've got is what his agent said last week about there being interest in a top 5 league.
Well, yeah.
So And that's not to say that Cerny is saying, "Oh, I need to go and play there," but he could be getting offered substantially more money than what.
It's the wages, yeah.
Yeah, so there's a lot of factors that come into this. It does seem as if he's enjoying his football, which he's maybe not done for a while. So he looks as if he's in a good place where he is. So that will obviously go in our favour. We've also got the slate. Who's our manager going to be?
Yeah.
Yeah. So there's a lot of factors that go into this decision-making process, which is why hopefully this takeover happens quickly as possible, so we can get a sporting director in place. You then get the manager, and then you can really start planning these things. I'm sure Koppen, etc., will have already had initial discussions about what it would take to get him here, and also either talks with Cerny or his agent about what are you feeling at the moment. So if it was doable, yes, because I think he's a good player, and I totally agree with you. If you can supplement that by adding more quality to that team and more quality to the squad, because we have relied on him a lot. Wouldn't it be amazing if you could say to Cerny, "You're a sub this week," because actually we've got a big game in Europe coming up, the next week. So you're on the bench this week. Rotate them and stuff like that. We've not had the opportunity to do that, so but I would take him, absolutely.
Yeah, I think something that a lot of fans need to realise is that just because this takeover's happening, it doesn't mean in the summer that we're going to go out and buy a brand new team. That's not how it works. It's you maybe bring in 3 or 4 quality additions in one window if you're lucky, and by 3 or 4 quality additions, what I mean is you're spending money. It's not just one transfer window.
We're seeing there's a nucleus there of talent in this team. Now, for whatever reason, it hasn't shown the consistency over the course of a season, but it has shown in moments that that this is a decent side who have potential. Do we have the strength and depth? No. So again, that will need to be looked at. So yeah, you're not, I would say, ripping it up and starting completely again, because you have got your Sterlings, you have got your Raskins, you've got your Barons, you've got your Dios, you've got your Igamans, so there is a kind of core there. Ash has talked about it, there are certain areas that you think we absolutely need to look at, but it's not going to be 11 new players, I don't think. No,
as much as we would love it to happen, to bring in 11 players at 5 to 6 million each.
Because you also need to move people out if you're doing that.
Exactly. It's going to take a good few. It's going to take a good few seasons to get the squad to where we want it. That doesn't mean it's going to take a good few seasons to win the league, though. Different, and I feel like I have to make that clear. Before we go, Jim Sloan, channel legend. Nobody told Big Alec it was a dead rubber game. Follow. Thank you very much, Jim, my friend. A massive contributor to the show. And I think, actually, I put out a poll, which I probably should have mentioned on YouTube, which is, would you consider Barry Ferguson for the Rangers job full time? I'm going to end that poll right now. Over 250 votes, and 68% said yes. And that was consider, not give, consider, and I'm pretty sure he will be if he carries on the way he does. So thank you very much, Jim. Thank you for all the super chats tonight. Thank you to Stuart and Ash for joining me. All the comments that we've had, all the nice puns that we had put in there. It's just nice to do a Monday night show where there's a wee bit of positive, basically. We are back tonight for members at 9 p.m. for the EPL show. And then as soon as that's finished, it will be uploaded over to Patreon for our members on Patreon. We're back tomorrow, 12:30 for members, with the afternoon Rabble as well. So I will leave it there. Folks, go and enjoy the rest of your Monday night. Stuart and Ash, thank you very much. And I tell you what I'll do, folks. I'll leave yous with this.
And how many times have you and me sat here, Alex, and said it?
Egeman! What a fucking goal! Hamza Egeman! Come on! Fucking on you go, son! What a goal! And it's Rangers 3, Celtic 2. What a fucking goal that is!
There's a
Got him on the arse. Hamza Egeman Take a bow.
Right?
Take a bow. That is.
A
I
player
love
that
you too, Gary, son. On you go. On you go.
a player that creates something out of nothing.
If there's ever a game you need a goal. Ah, look at the Timmy Teals. They're fucking raging. Look at them, absolutely raging. Look at them. Can't control themselves. And yet we're the bad fans. They can't control themselves. Look at them in our fucking subs.